Well, hello and good afternoon, and thanks for joining us again to another episode of Coach's Conversation Cafe. It's a pleasure today to our host or our guest today is a colleague of mine, Walta Gamoian, who taught at Golden West High School, and now she is a board member for VUSD. Joining our panel today is Adam Valencia, President and CEO of Reconnecting Youth, and Keith Rodriguez, who was an ex from this area, was an ex-Blazer, and then also the offensive coordinator for Mount Whitney High School football a few years ago. So glad to have everybody today, and excited to have you today, Walta.
Thank you.
The first thing I'd like you to do is give our listeners a little bit of your background, your teaching background, and how you got involved in the VUSD board. What influenced you to run for the board?
Okay. Well, this feels like a Golden West reunion here. I taught at Golden West for 34 years, and I was kind of a utility person there. Besides teaching science, I did everything from cheerleader advisor to, taking care of homecoming. They needed someone to help, run a concession stand. They needed someone to do a club. I just kind of filled in the gaps, and I loved every minute of it because it was with kids. And then about 2 years before I retired, I started dreaming with God about what to do next, because I saw when my parents retired, they were kind of like in the rocking chair watching TV, and I thought, no way. And so I come up with this huge list, and every one of the things that was on there had to do with kids, and school board was on there. And I decided to run because I do believe in public education. I loved working in Visalia Unified, and I feel like this is where God has called me right now.
Yeah, and you were a jack of all trades at Golden West. You did a little bit of everything. I forgot about the cheerleading thing.
Yeah, that was actually one of my hardest jobs.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're so happy to have you on, Ms. Gamoian, and like you said, it feels like a reunion. I can't wipe the smile off my face. But yeah, since you've been on the board, what are some of the challenges you guys have faced as board members?
Well, first of all, just for me personally, I carry over 28,000 children that I think about when I go to bed and I think about when I wake up. I feel like my job is to make decisions for the most amount of children in our district, yet making sure that everyone has a connection to their school and everybody has access to the programs that we have. So that's how I base my decisions. I think the hardest thing in my two years on the board has been navigating this pandemic. That has been very difficult. Just the thought of some kids at home, unsupervised, kids that come from abusive homes. They're at home. Their safe harbor was always school, and that has not been available to them. So that weighs on my heart a lot too. So I'm just excited that our superintendent, Dr. Raveline, she never, ever gave up the hope of bringing kids back to school. So we would say, okay, we're going to bring them back this day. Then the county health department would come in and say, nope, can't bring them back. And so it kind of perceived, because the public kind of sees it as, well, you guys are so flaky. You say you're going to do this, you say you're going to do this, and you don't do it. But we're at the mercy of the governor's executive order and what the county health department tells us. But I love it. It wasn't until late April of last year, she said, we're not going back, because she held out. And then we did write the waiver for getting our pre-K 6 back, and then the county said, nope, can't get 5th and 6th back. And then even though it was right before Christmas vacation, we got our 5th and 6th graders back. So that's just been very challenging, working with the different government agencies and just the desire to get our kids back in school. So I know that suicide rates and anxiety and depression have gone up exponentially, but we do have a great social emotional department. And anybody, I mean, if you can access their resources on our website, plus any phone call to a counselor, an athletic director, the principal can hook you up with services right away.
That's great.
That's awesome. That is awesome, Ms. Gamoian. And, there's been so many challenges you guys have had to overcome. And I know it's not been easy, as you alluded to. I understand there's some teaching going on that's half in class and half at home type of stuff. When things go back to normal or semi-normal, whatever the new normal will be, are we gonna build upon those half days, or are we just gonna go right back to immersing everybody back together? Or
Well, the plan right now is as soon as we hit the red tier, so we could get some good news tomorrow. Yeah.
Good.
As soon as we hit that red tier, we're going to give our teachers and the community a week to get ready. Teachers have already been preparing. The staff has been preparing to get kids back. We kind of did a checklist last week. So we'll give the community and the sites about a week to get back. And then we're bringing back 7th through 12th. Next, hopefully, if we're hit the red tier next Wednesday, we're having a orientation for our 7th graders and their 9th graders. They've never been on campus.
Wow.
They're brand new on their campus. So we're going to do an orientation for them. And we are going to stick with our AB hybrid schedule. And so that it jives, because a lot of our high school and middle school kids, they're taking care of their younger siblings. So we kind of have to stay on the same schedule. Yeah. So it's not ideal. And then the kids that the parents are not comfortable bringing their kids back at all, we still have distance learning. And then some classes like our AP classes, our choir, band, the teachers now have technology where the kids can zoom in from home and participate in those classes.
Wow.
So, the whole idea is we don't want to leave anybody behind.
A lot of moving parts.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, Ms. Gamoian, we're just so happy to have you. It does my heart great to see you. And I know that it's taken a lot of work. We know that as a group, and that's why we're here to support you
I appreciate
through this
that.
podcast, because we know it's very difficult. I'm thinking about the board. I've been participating in some of the meetings, and I had a chance to be at last Tuesday's meeting I want to just make sure you pass the message, especially to Dr. Ravlin, to let her know that we support her. And I just love to see, she's just doing such a remarkable job. I mean, gosh, to be given this responsibility, she just got hired and had this transition. So I know it's been very difficult. So just wanted you to know that. Appreciate all the work that the board's doing. I know that it's a lot to take on. And being someone who lives here in Visalia, born and raised here in Visalia, always looking from the outside, looking in and trying to figure out how we can support you. So we want to thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
We're here for you. So as we transition our middle to high school students, what exactly is going to be needed? What do the sites have to be prepared for as students start to come on campus? As you mentioned, we still have to have students receive an orientation, being on a middle school campus. So what's that going to entail, and how can parents be prepared for that?
Well, they need to make sure that they do attend those orientations. I think it'll help our kids a lot that have never. I'm really worried about our 9th graders, especially. You know, those kids can tend to slip through the cracks.
Mhm.
Just that they're there. There's a lot of support. Our ASB directors are full-time and are fantastic. And we'll do a lot of supporting with kids. And yeah, and just make sure that your kids show up, and make sure that if they have a temperature, don't bring them, you know, don't let them go to school. And yeah, and follow, you know, we have to follow the guidelines. I wish we didn't. I mean, and we do have a COVID safety plan on the website. If they care to read that, that would be great. It gives them a checklist of what to do before leaving home. Transportation's being provided. Transportation also for middle school sports is being provided. Kids are starting to play sports, and they will have busing to and from the house. So yeah, and just take advantage of everything that we have. The COVID safety plan is amazing because the VUSD staff had to come up with all the details to meet the guidelines. And it's an amazing document. I wish we didn't have to go through all this, but we had to.
Right.
And so because we have a superintendent and staff that are fighting to get kids in school, and any way we could get kids in school there, that's where we want it to be. So yeah, just encouraging parents to, you know, get their kids to school. The kids that are distance learning, you know, some of the kids really thrived in that.
Right. Mhm.
And so we're kind of looking at possibly, my hope and prayer is that we go back to school normal. But we offer an online option, because some
Got it.
kids
Yeah, I was
just
just gonna ask you
thrive.
that. Mhm. That's
Yeah.
right.
And so ideally, I'd like kids to come back to school. And then if you want to be online, you can be online. And that's what we're, you know, looking at. We've also thrown out the idea of having an online charter school possibly. So we will probably continue the online option. We in Visalia Unified have crossed the digital divide.
Right.
Every kid has internet. Every kid has a Chromebook. So everybody has
Amazing.
access. Yeah. And
Yeah.
especially for a district, like I had just gone to a workshop with the California School Board Association, and I wanted to laugh because we're talking about our district size. Oh, we have 3,000. Oh, we have, you know, 250. I go, I have over 28,000 kids, and
Yeah.
everybody has access
Yeah, that's right.
to the internet, and the technology available to teachers now is amazing. It
Yeah.
was a rough go. You know, we had to start school and they weren't comfortable with it yet, but our teachers are amazing. I literally I was at Mount Whitney the first day of school, and I was sobbing watching those teachers on the first day of school connect with their kids online. And if those teachers could have jumped through the screen to their kids, they would have.
Yeah.
We have an amazing teaching staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do. And, you know, I've been able to be a part of that a little bit in working with student teachers, and I have 3 of them. And it's amazing, these young people, especially, how good they are at creating
Oh,
engaging lessons on the internet. I mean, it's amazing. And, you know, I'm also, you know, Walta, as a coach, I'm always looking out for sports.
Right.
And, you know, I'm coaching a freshman team. And like you said, these freshmen are so excited just to be out there.
Right.
And, but what's sad is thinking that, man, you guys haven't seen a pep rally. You haven't been able to go to a football
Right.
game, you know, some of these events. And I'm thinking even, you know, the ag events and some of the things that we do. And so I'm looking forward to getting back to that, where these kids get to participate in all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even, you get on campus at Golden West, like, where's my class?
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the orientation is going to be really important, especially since You've got to follow the arrows, you know, coming in, going out, going to your classes. So I think that orientation is going to be really important.
That's
And
good.
yeah, we've had cohorts going all along. So we've had ag cohorts, special ed cohorts,
Dance.
yeah, dance, anything else, any of the staffs thought that would be creative, they could do a cohort. So we've been doing that all along. Football was crushing to my soul, I have to
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
It was very hard for me. I mean, I literally didn't sleep for 3 nights. And, you know, water polo and football, I mean, you know, I was in every sporting event. I
Yeah.
went to everything. And that's
Mhm.
a big part of high school life, let's face it.
Yep.
And it was a big blow. But
What was
again,
the deciding factor in that, Walter?
well, again, we're trying to make the decision for the most amount of kids. And there were a couple things that went on. Our spring sports did not get a season at all last year.
Right.
And so it was important to us to make sure they had, you know, if you could even call this a season, but they had the opportunity to have a season. We have 16, a minimum at each campus of 16 teams playing right now to be able to juggle that. Now, Golden West again, woo, beautiful space, right? That's not an issue. But you think about Redwood, you
Yep.
think about El Diamante, that
Yep.
becomes an issue.
You're right.
The other good thing about Golden West is a lot of our coaches didn't cross over to other teams at the other schools. That was the case. That a lot of the coaches, like a lot of the football coaches, they're already coaching soccer, they're coaching,
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
coaching
baseball.
multiple
Yeah,
sports.
baseball.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
coach,
that's right.
yeah. So to pull from that to us didn't seem like the best thing to do. And like I said, it was a crushing decision. So the other thing is, I'm not going to leave any kid high and dry. So we're making sure, especially again at Golden West, a lot of our football players, that's all they do.
Right.
That's not the case at the other schools.
Right.
So we need to make sure, I want to make sure those kids, and they are going to be engaged, they can still condition, they can, so they can still meet with some coaches and work out. Water polo, I'm hoping, you know, we're just encouraging all those kids to swim this year.
And I think they have clubs too. I think water
Yeah.
polo, at least they have clubs they can be a part of. And
Right. Right.
I'm even
And-
hearing that there are football teams that are clubs that are playing in Fresno and
Yeah.
stuff. So
And, you know, I wish we could have been like Clovis, because what Clovis did was those kids they were on the weights the whole time, because they rented out every single gym in Clovis and had cohorts with those kids still lifting weights. Our kids had not been lifting weights. They had
Right.
not hit the weights they should have. And so there was a concern about injury. And, you know, a lot of parents, they say, well, that's just football. And I go, yeah, I get that. But, you know, I don't know that they were totally ready. And so, yeah, it was a crushing blow.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are upset. But again, my job is to make decisions for the most amount of
Right.
students.
Absolutely.
Like I know a kid who, you know, he's a senior this year. They were looking at him last year for pole vaulting,
Mhm.
you know, and he didn't get a season. They were going to look at him. They've been looking at him since he was a sophomore. Junior year, he didn't get a season,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and I know it was hard, and there's going to be a lot more of those decisions, because ever since I've been on the board, you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah. So
No,
true.
it's kind of like coaching. You never make
Yeah.
anybody happy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Walter,
we certainly appreciate the leadership of the entire board. I mean, I know that it's challenging. I mean, like I said, I've participated in several of the meetings, and I can hear it, and I know it's hard, it's difficult. But again, you know, we appreciate your leadership. What I'm always big about is we need to make sure that everybody knows of all the positive things that are happening within the district,
right.
and not focusing on the little negative things that people are making into big deals. You're
Right.
exactly right. You know, when you have over 25,000 students, you got to do everything you can on behalf of the students and the families that we're serving. So the technology piece, I love to hear that. That's something that needs to be highlighted, and the Times Delta needs to highlight the
Yes,
positives that are happening, and not
That's
just,
right.
well, football is not going to be here. Well, it's much bigger than football.
it is.
And you're talking to ex-coaches, coaches that,
Yeah,
that love the
football.
game,
Ex-football
ex-football
guy.
players,
That's
baseball
right.
guys. I mean,
Yeah.
believe me,
Understand.
we've been watching it very closely, but the fact that every child has a laptop, that does my heart a lot,
Mhm.
because that's one of the things and one of the challenges that we had early on. I remember when this just began a year ago, we were worried about the great technology divide. And so we appreciate Visalia Unified stepping up and making it happen.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm very proud of that. Another note on football, we're really looking into getting more passing leagues, and I know that doesn't include all the ball players, but at least we'll extend spring ball and do quite a few more passing leagues.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, that would be great. And we've talked about this as a group. Just so you know, Ms. Gamoian, we're here to support anything that's happening. I mean, I know that Keith and I aren't on the field coaching right now, but we've already made this decision that we're here to support anything that's happening. Financially, if we need to support as from a company to really help out and get passing league going, whatever that's going to take, we want
I
to support
appreciate
that.
that.
So
Yeah.
I know Coach Buckley feels the same, but he's a baseball guy. And I understand
Yeah.
that. We played for Coach.
I remember I was athletic director.
Oh, that's right. You're an AD.
That's true.
I
You
knew that was
oversaw it
coming.
all.
And
Yeah,
our ADs have been amazing.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
they've had a hard
Juggling
job.
yes, they've had a
Yeah.
hard
Oh,
job.
yeah.
And even when sports weren't going on, they were there supporting kids, supporting staff.
Right.
A lot of people say, well, what are your ADs doing? I go, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Trying to
They're
schedule
doing a
all that,
lot.
the same facilities, and you
Yeah.
bet.
Yes.
And
Trying to
even
figure out what
athletic
fans can go.
trainers, your athletic trainers have just been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been awesome to have Coach Buckley kind of leading the way for us here when it comes to partnering, back with Visalia Unified and really
I
getting a
love
good
that.
understanding of what's happening. We're trying to stay in real time of having individuals like yourself and just so you know that there's a lot of support. There's a lot of really great things happening. And we want to
Appreciate
continue to
that.
build on that for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Walta, the way I hear it from some of these teachers is that in high school and middle school, supposedly if it turns red this week like it's supposed to,
Tomorrow.
that they're going to have 2 days before break to go through a trial
Yes.
run,
Yes.
and then hopefully when they come back, make adjustments and do which I think is a great idea.
Yeah. So we have a 3-week window. And if we don't get back within that 3-week window, then we won't be able to get back.
So,
Wow.
So, and the other thing is because I've had a steadfast superintendent, like Fresno Unified may not be able to get all their kids back because they haven't had any kids in school yet.
Right.
So they may only be able to do pre-K 2. Whereas because we were stubborn about it, we kept trying to get kids back, all our kids have an opportunity to be back to school.
that's awesome.
So, yeah. So I was like, I don't even care if it's Friday before Easter vacation. I want my kids in school.
Well, and definitely, in our seniors, we want them to have a graduation.
Yes.
We want to try to make it as realistic as possible.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah.
Middle school, what you mentioned that there's doing sports. Are they actually doing sports, or is it more of an intramurals?
It'll be intramural.
Intramural. So at least.
And maybe, of course, we haven't given up on this either. So we always keep the window open, and that's what drives the community crazy a lot of times because they think we're flaky. But I want to keep it open because what if they can play?
Yeah.
So that window's open to
That's
play,
right.
possibly play other schools.
Well, the other idea behind that too is that you could probably get started with a 7-on-7 for middle school. You can
Yes.
start doing passing league for the middle schools. As
Yes.
they're feeding into the high school, they're going to understand the systems that they're going to be going into. So this really has an advantage if we do this right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
I agree.
Point. Excellent point. Mr.
Yeah.
Gamoian, I had some teachers message me once they knew you were going to be on our show. And so this is for the teachers out there. They're asking if there some of the COVID money that's coming in to the school districts, would they be allowed to use that for their classrooms?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we are right now, somebody texted me and asked me about some technology programs. And I said, well, we already bought those, you know? And so, yeah, so they have to go through their principal.
Of course.
And yeah, and yes,
Oh, very good.
definitely. That's what we're using. Yes. So
Yeah.
just about, you know, a lot of times, you know, I hear like, I'll hear from a principal or whatever, hey, I asked for this and I didn't get it. So I called a couple weeks, you know, I don't step in until
Yeah.
I have to,
Right.
because I trust the staff, you know? And
Mhm.
so I'll call that principal a couple weeks. Hey, did you get? Yeah, we got it. You know, it just takes, you know, we're a big district.
Huge district. Yeah.
Yes. So the red tape
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
little daunting at times.
Yeah, well, we,
Sure.
you know, we also know too that, you know, there is going to be plenty of CARES Act dollars, and you know, we want to
Yes.
make sure that as a district, you know, as someone in the community, but as a district, that we maximize the amount of funding. If it's a school
Exactly.
or a site to school formula, whatever it might be, or student to site formula, we want to
Right.
make sure that we're doing everything we can to be organized so we can utilize that funding, because that money's going to come and go.
It
And,
is going to come and go.
It's
And we
given
have,
us a chance to reset. So that's a
and
really great thing.
we have an amazing finance guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he really takes care of that. I know a couple public members of the public asked for a list of what we're spending it on. Got it to him.
Yeah, Nathan does a wonderful job there. Nathan
Oh,
Hernandez.
amazing.
Oh,
Nathan Lemus.
yeah, he's
No,
amazing.
Nathan Hernandez.
Hernandez, yeah, Nathan Hernandez.
That's
Yep.
right. Nathan.
Oh, yeah, no,
Lemus
he's
is the, he works on the construction part.
he's an
Yeah.
amazing person to have,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I-
So, yeah, and we've spent a lot of money, a lot of our CARES money keeping our teachers safe.
Yep.
So we have air purifiers in every room. Those were $700 a pop.
Wow.
We have UV lights. We have air filters in the HVAC. And some of the schools that, like Whitney, had an old HVAC system. So now that's been replaced. So they can put those MERV 19, I don't know what number they're on, filters. So basically the air in the room is filtered at least every 20 minutes.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah.
Like a casino.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can't smoke here, okay?
No. Has there been any talk, Ms. Gamoian, about the possibility of making it mandatory for either students or teachers to get vaccinated?
No.
Okay.
Our insurance company said no, and I will fight against that. I don't think it's right to make vaccines mandatory.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So will teachers have to wear a mask in place of that, or how will that work for them for safety reasons?
Well, right now they have to anyway.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And so I went to a class on vaccines just to see, you know, what they were thinking. And they're not sure how it's all going to pan out.
Sure.
I mean, my hope is like, we're like Texas and Florida. Let's just open it up.
Yeah, and let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, let's just open it up and let's get our businesses back on track. Let's get our kids back on track. We're also receiving a lot of CARES money. A lot of it has to go toward mitigating learning loss. So what that means, the research is showing it's going to take anywhere from 18 to 24 months to catch our kids up. So we're going to be spending a lot of money on that as well.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. I mean, that's a great point. You know, that's really good.
Yeah. So a lot of summer programs this year, a lot of after school, a lot of Saturdays to catch kids up. And yeah, so especially, you know, my other burden that I couldn't sleep over was, how do you teach a kindergartner how to read on the computer when you're on the computer?
Right.
You know? And it was funny. We have this program that kind of rates kids. And so I think parents are overzealous in helping their kids. And so a kindergartner will score 6th grade level for reading. And, and then the program then puts out work that,
Yeah.
at that level. And so now, the poor kid's really behind, but our teachers, see, this is what I'm saying. Data is not end all.
Right.
Because our teachers are smart enough to know where their kids are without
Right.
giving them a test.
Right.
So, the teachers just adjusted, but
Yeah.
that always made me laugh.
Yeah, that is. Well, we definitely, appreciate all the work that our teachers are doing, and we want to
Oh.
make sure that we retain all of them and don't lose anybody in
Right.
transition, because it's very easy for people just to get up and go and think, well, the grass is greener in a different county or a different district.
Yep.
And I just think it's really important for us to keep the word out that there are a lot of great things happening. And you have a board that's supporting all the effort. And I
Yeah,
know a
you
lot of times
really
it may not
do.
feel that way, but there's a lot of people that do. And if they understand government and they understand districts and they pay attention to a board meeting, they'll know what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
And then the
right.
next thing that Dr. Raveline's fighting for the arts,
right.
because, well, now we got the okay, we can wear a mask and sing,
Mhm.
but we can't do wind instruments or brass instruments,
Right.
which I know, like put them on a different yard lines of the football field, let them play.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd think they could be able to social distance somehow out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But,
Yeah, at least we're coming back, I guess, little by
Yeah.
little.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Walta, hey, we're running out of time here, and man, it was a pleasure to have you, and we really do appreciate. It's so great to have teachers on that board that understand and are supporting teachers and all that they're doing. And I know you've done a great job of that, and I know you put your heart and soul. You do your research, and we really appreciate that. I know you don't get complimented a lot
No,
at the
not very
board meeting. That's
But
kind of like
that's not
coaching.
why I do it.
Kind of like
Yeah.
coaching. It's not
Yes,
why
it
we
is.
do it either.
Well, you got 3
But-
supporters here, right? So
Yeah,
just know that we
yay.
support
Yeah,
you.
you do.
That's really all that matters today.
Yeah.
So you got your positive cues today from us.
Yeah,
So we
thank
really
you.
appreciate what you and Dr. Raveline are doing and
Yep.
the rest of the board. It's not an easy task during
No.
a pandemic like this. And
Yeah.
I know you're doing your best because I know your heart, and your heart is for kids. And
Definitely.
that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
thanks
you.
again. And
Yeah,
thanks
nice seeing
everybody else for
everybody.
joining us and for another, and I always want to hit you up with a John Woodenism. And he says, talent is God-given, be humble. Fame is man-given, be grateful. And conceit is self-given, be careful.
Very
So
good.
have a great day. We appreciate all you people that are listening, and see us again next week when we come back.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Ms. Gamoian. Great seeing
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Gamoian.
Thank you. Bye-bye.